Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. I got bitches asking me about the code for the Wi-Fi so they can talk about their timeline and show me pictures of their friends just to tell me they ain't really friends. Welcome to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Guy Pigton.
And I'm Harley Neville. It's a commentary on the modern world.
Exactly.
A philosophical commentary.
Drake's philosophical commentary on the modern world.
So, that's good.
Deep. He's going deep on those lyrics.
Good
there.
for you, Drake. Still don't like his name.
He's got his pulse on the finger of
His pulse on the finger.
He's got his finger on the pulse.
Good start. Good start. So, welcome along to the podcast. I'm Harley Neville.
I'm Guy Pigton, and this is a filmmaking podcast. It's a podcast about our lives and our adventures in the screen trade, to quote William Goldman. Do you know who he is?
Nah, never heard of him. Don't know what you're talking about.
Famous screenwriter who wrote a couple of very famous books on screenwriting. I'm trying to think. He wrote The Princess Bride.
Right,
it's probably one of those bigger ones.
I've heard of this.
Okay,
this is something I've heard of.
But you've seen it surely.
What's that one about? I think I have seen it.
There's the one.
Has it got Andre the Giant in it?
Yes.
Yep. Seen it.
Yeah. So that's the one.
Drink the poison. Don't drink the poison.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's one movie in the entire world that Harley has seen.
Well, actually, that I have something to say about that. I've been going on a movie watching binge lately, and
Good.
as it happens, I have watched several films. I've watched American Sniper,
Yep.
The World's End,
Yep.
Dallas Buyers Club,
Yep.
The Perfect Human Diet, and The 11th Hour. The last two are documentaries.
Yeah. So we don't need to talk about those.
They're still films. They've got a beginning, middle, and end.
So what did you think of American Sniper?
It was entertaining. I thought it was an entertaining film, and I thought it was well made.
Clint Eastwood directed that.
Did he?
Yes.
I don't think I knew that. It was good. I liked it. It had good violence in it.
And that's the most important thing for you.
That's the main thing.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day for you. Your criteria for a good film is whether it has good violence or not.
And it's got to be that graphic, real life-ish kind of violence, not the silly, Die Hard style violence. It's got to be that real laugh.
Die
real
Hard
life
was quite violent.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, but it's still not that gritty, real life-ish kind of violence. That's what I like, the real life violence.
Makings of a psychopath? Yes, they are.
No, because I've got this way of expressing myself, my violent urges. I just watch movies instead.
By jerking it to violent films.
Exactly. But so I liked it, but I guess my only the only issue that I had with it was really just this idea that it was kind of glorifying this guy that was essentially an invader of a foreign country,
And shooting people in the back.
And just shooting heaps of people that were defending their country, he didn't have any reason to be there. And it's very difficult to, they paint it up to make it look like he's a hero. But, at the end of the day, he's still going overseas to shoot people he's never met who are trying to repel invaders, that's the definition of a bad guy. So what's the deal? That's just propaganda is what it is.
Just in case you were wondering, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. First masturbation reference today on the Guy. Look, it wouldn't be the Guy and Harley podcast
without several references to wanking.
Without several wanking jokes. Well, that's interesting. I haven't watched that. I will catch that.
Dallas Buyers Club was also very good, and it made me feel a lot better about my HIV. So felt quite empowered. So that's good.
You felt quite empowered to keep having sex with people unprotected.
Yeah, so that's good.
That was the message that it was preaching. You can have a good life.
No, it was an empowering story about a man on death's door making the most of his life. That's why it's inspiring.
But he was having lots of careless, casual sex, wasn't he?
Well, have you seen it?
No.
Right, well, I mean, there's no spoilers here, but at the beginning he has casual,
Right.
careless sex.
Yeah.
You know, but not all the way through.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's not his trait that he does. He doesn't go spreading it around everywhere.
Oh, right. That's right. It's not another kid's situation.
No, but it was a very good film. Anyway, I enjoyed it.
I'll be sure to check that out. So Harley's seen more films than me, is what
Yeah.
we're saying right now. Harley has become more of a film buff in the
you.
last couple of weeks than I have.
Well, this was all within the last week too.
Well, those two were Oscar-nominated films. as
yeah, well, this is why I was getting all caught up. Because the Oscars was 3 months ago.
The Oscars was a year ago.
So I'm just getting caught up.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And then World's End, I didn't really think much of.
Didn't like it?
I was all right. It's all right. It just didn't really tickle my balls. You know,
I quite enjoyed that.
it was all right. It was a poor man's Shaun of the Dead.
They won't like to hear that. Sean won't like to hear that.
But it was all right.
Simon Pegg. Well, look, while we're on the subject of films.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you know about this film. There's a film out there called Someone to Carry Me. Mm-hmm. It's a New Zealand film.
Right. Haven't heard of it.
Has not been released yet.
That'll be why.
Very similar to Older, and it's like a independent film.
Older being our second feature film.
That's
You can
correct.
find it on Facebook. Older the movie.
So this is another indie feature film. And sometimes we have to shout out our indie feature brethren. Mm-hmm. And I've been following this film because I'm kind of curious to see what happens with it, see how it does, and watch it.
What's it called again?
Someone to Carry Me.
Right.
And I think it's kind of like a thriller-style drama sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't have the synopsis to hand,
Yep.
but I do have some quotes from the actor/producer.
Okay.
You might know a little bit about this, producing/acting. Mm-hmm. But he was interviewed recently, and I just thought what he said was very interesting and like very good advice for budding filmmakers.
Okay. What did he say?
So it appears you have sacrificed a lot and worked extremely hard to get this film made. Tell us about your story and what you've gone through to get where you are. And this is the director. I've had a lot of people ask, what does it take to make a feature film? Or how did I do it? You know, I'm only starting myself, so I'm not pretending to be an expert, but I usually say two things. One, just keep going. Whatever hurdles get thrown at you, and there may be many, just keep going. Two, don't sleep. This sounds crazy, but you got to do what you got to do to get it done. I've spent 7 years making this film, and there's been months on end where I've only slept 3 to 4 hours a night. I'm working full time at TV New Zealand as an editor and been creating Someone to Carry Me in my spare time, before and after work. And some days you wake up and you're so tired you just want to go back to sleep. And I tell myself, just keep going, just get out of bed, just take it one step at a time. And soon I'm up, remembered why I'm doing this, and ready to take on the day. So I think that is very good advice. Mm-hmm. Both of those things are kind of things that you need to be aware of.
Sounds like this motherfucker just read one of our interviews and copy-pasted, you know? Get your own shit, bro.
But I think, you know, those are the kind of the two big things you have to do. Like, you just have to, because filmmaking is a series of obstacles and a series sometimes of disasters thrown in your way. It's how you respond to them. And, you know, you just have to deal with each problem at a time, and then there'll be another problem, and it'll be the next scene, and it'll be another issue, and it'll be a different take. And all of these things, accumulatively, if you look at it all at once, it's overwhelming. You're like, fuck this. I just can't do it. I can't handle it. But
I don't have the power.
amazing Scotty impression.
That was pretty good, I thought. Thought that was pretty good, actually.
You can see that Harley as an actor is a master of
impersonation.
Impressions of that's a Scottish accent of Scotty.
That was good. That was great. I think the listeners appreciate that one.
But if you just break it down to one problem at a time, that is how you can sort of continue on this very tricky journey, and also, yes, getting used to not sleeping. That, like, where are you going to find the time to do all those things? There's only one option. It's for you to sleep less. So fucking set that alarm, buddy. Set that motherfucking alarm. So I wish that man luck.
What's his name?
Can't remember. I think it's Sam someone. I might look into that and maybe put that in
next week. Just say next week.
Yeah, next week, because I'm not going to put it in now.
Edit it in.
Yeah, that's way too much work.
What's his name? Sam blah blah.
Yeah. Sam, there's a rustle of the microphone as if I did say it. So I just thought that was interesting. And, I also think that there is another thing here that he talks about the film taking him 7 years to make.
Yeah.
Now, this is the classic film problem. Our film took 5 years to make. What happens is you get stuck in, because he says here that the shooting only took 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, you had 3 years pre-production, writing the script, etc., 3 years post, right? And that is where you run into problems.
Yeah.
And that is something...
3 years of pre-production, though. He can't have been working very hard.
Well, probably writing, rewriting, doing other bits and pieces, trying to bring all the elements together.
Yeah.
I'll just have to stick up for him for a second there. But I think that is this thing that you have to, like, if you're going to make something, try and create it so you don't get stuck in this post-production vacuum where you're like, holy shit, like what I shot, that's just one element of it, and there's 1,000 other elements that I need to bring together for this film to be watchable.
Yeah.
And that is something that we all get trapped in, and that's the problem. Is a film takes 7 years to make or 5 years to make. You're a completely different fucking person at the end of that than when you began.
Yeah,
and you have different ideas about how you want to make a film, the type of films you want to make and release, etc., etc. So that is the classic indie film trope that I would argue is if, like, think about your post production before you start production.
Yeah.
And have a really solid plan for that not to go into that 3 to 5 year hell.
Yep, and keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's very true, A lot of the greatest stories are simple stories told well. Mm-hmm. So, yes. But shout out to Someone to Carry Me. And in fact, they're doing an Indiegogo campaign at the moment to raise money to submit it to festivals and stuff like that. Which, to be honest, I'm not sure I agree with, but...
Why?
Well, just because, it actually doesn't cost that much money.
It's like $50.
It's
per festival.
It's $50 per festival. And, I'm not sure that you should be asking people for money for that, because, like, you're kind of asking to submit to something that you could get rejected for. Like, it's not for a physical thing to exist. In the way that you're saying give me money to make a film is. If you're saying give me money to maybe get rejected by all these A-list festivals because I haven't done my research on the festivals I'm submitting to, that's not great. However, if you do want to donate to Someone to Carry Me, and you should be supporting indie film, then you can find them on the Indiegogo. If you type that in, you'll find it on the Indiegogo. So yeah. What's been going on with you?
What's been going on with me?
You got any topics?
Well, I did want to talk about the other day. Guy went out, had a couple of friends in from out of town.
Yep.
I couldn't go out because I had work early the next day. And also Angie, my girlfriend, went out as well. So the whole flat went out.
Except you.
Except me.
Yeah.
I had a couple of drinks with them before they left, and then went to bed, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then at like 3 a.m, and I had to get up at about 7, so it wasn't super early, but Angie showed up.
Yeah.
And threw up.
Pissed off her head.
Threw up in a bucket.
Yeah.
In my bed.
Yeah. Multiple times?
I think just once or once and a half or something like that in the bucket. And then, so she arrived, and then she woke me up. She arrived, she woke me up. I was moderately grumpy about that, but not too bad, I was like, it was to be expected.
Yeah.
And then just as I was falling asleep, all these guys all came home too.
Yeah.
And we're all yahooing out there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, sweet as. And then I just started falling asleep, and then that was when Angie threw up in the bucket.
Right.
That I had gotten earlier.
Yep.
and puked in the bucket. And then so I got up and I had to empty the bucket, obviously.
Of vomit.
The bucket of vomit.
Yeah.
So I came out sort of stomping past, like
a grumpy old man.
So it was Guy and a couple of friends and some guests in the in the kitchen, like still drinking, and 4 a.m. or whatever time it was. And I came out wearing nothing but my old man dressing gown, which is this. It's like the definition of an old man dressing gown. It's made of wool and it's knitted in England. It's literally made in England.
Yeah.
It's like an old man dressing gown. I came out with my bald old head, my hair all, what's left of my hair all messy, nothing underneath, just this and a bucket of spew, and I just sort of stomped past without saying anything, throwing dirty looks at everyone. And when I imagine how I looked, I kind of imagine that really grumpy hobbit that's always scowling at Frodo from his front yard.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I always kind of imagine him.
Yeah.
And I stomped on past with my hairy feet, I might add. And the guests, I didn't say a word, but the guests all saw me. And no doubt were like, who the fuck was that? Grumpy old man.
Yeah, no, I remember that clearly. Your face, your face of disdain. Well, also, what was funny that night is that a friend of mine he was up he's based in Queenstown. He had a photo in his wallet, which was from his wedding, which he had in China because his wife is Chinese.
That's right.
And there's a photo because I attended their wedding. I was one of the groomsmen, and basically over in China they do the wedding photos not on the day. They do them like a couple of days before, and you kind of wear stuff that you don't even necessarily get to wear on the wedding, and you're just dressed up, and then they take all these weird photos, mostly against fake backgrounds, and like you might change your outfit a couple of times if you're the bride and groom, and it's kind of weird, but it's kind of good because you get everything out the way. You don't even have to worry about that on the day, and they've got some good photos. And anyway, there was a photo of me and the bride, the groom, and what are the girls called? Bridesmaids. And we're kind of pointing at something, and this photo, everyone found this photo hysterical because I look so fat in it.
You were such a fat shit.
My memory of that time was that I was not fat.
Well, you were. Turns out your memory is not perfect.
So they were laughing, and they were also laughing about what I was wearing because the pants that I was wearing were too high.
So they were pulled up to his belly button. And he looked real fat.
Yeah, like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. Yeah, so I looked like a fat, young Clint Eastwood. In Gran Torino, and literally these guys were laughing about how fat I was for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah,
they were laughing, and like tears were coming out of their eyes that they were so amused. Well,
it was very funny that
it was a perfect storm type of photo
that you chose. I don't know, that outfit with your pants so high. I didn't choose
the outfit. Yeah, they chose the outfit.
But you put the fucking thing on. Why were your pants so high?
My pants weren't high. That was a trick of the camera.
Pointing with your stubby sausage hands.
I just can't believe how fat I looked in it. But the good news is I'm thinner than that now. So what I'm saying is I'm getting in better shape as I get older.
Right, yeah.
I can hold on to that.
There you go.
So yes, that was very humiliating for me. And of course, I was also with these beautiful Asian women at the time who, I thought I was the hunky.
Yeah, the hunky Westerner.
Yeah, the hunky Westerner.
You're the chunky Westerner.
So that was that.
Well, somebody spoke to me recently. I can't remember how this came up, but it turns out that being bald is my defining feature. Like if you...
Well, yeah, I guess that's...
but if you...
What do you think of Harley? Or someone says the word Harley.
No, like more like, oh, that's Harley and Guy. Which one's Harley? The bald one. You know, you don't say the hot one.
Yeah.
Or the, you know...
The guy with the perfect
nice smile.
you
know, you go, he's the bald one.
It's
It's
like
like,
a baldy, you know? That's how you know.
So that's good. That's good. I'd never really properly thought about that. So...
But now you've given it much thought.
Now I've thought about it a little bit more, and yeah, that sucks.
So I did just want to talk a little bit... there's a couple of scandalous things went on in the film world. Now, this directly relates to us because, you know, we just talked about an Indiegogo campaign. We did an Indiegogo campaign for Older. Now, do you know who, I'm not exactly 100% sure how to pronounce his name, but it's Uwe Boll is. Do you know who that is?
I've heard this name.
Yeah? Who is he?
Not sure.
Yeah, basically he's this German director who is famous for making the shittest films of all time.
Yeah. And he uses like really shitty backdrops and...
Yeah, and he's just like, he's kind of seen as like the Ed Wood of filmmaking now. And he's also famous for basically taking popular franchises. He did House of the Dead and also Alone in the Dark. Mm-hmm. And basically doing terrible video game movies. Like, that's kind of his thing.
Alone in the Dark was a terrible sequel to Flashback.
No, that you're thinking of something else, I think. Oh, no, maybe you're right.
I think it is.
No, it's the other way around. Alone in the Dark came first, Flashback was second. Come on, bro, don't
3D,
question me on this game shit.
Alone in the Dark was the 3D one that came out after Flashback, and Flashback was awesome, and it was 2D side-scroller, and then later on they made this kind of shitty 3D, unless it was called Fade to Black.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of that.
We're definitely mixing our video games here.
All right. I think it was called Fade to Black now that I think about it. So, disregard.
So anyway, he has done many films and people hate him. In fact, there was a petition
to kill him,
to stop him. Like, he was like, if 1 million people sign this petition, I'm going to stop making films.
Yeah,
and they got to about 330,000,
right,
which is actually quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
To sign this petition.
Why would he do that? Why would he risk that?
I think someone started the petition and he said, "We'll get it to 1 million, and I'll take you seriously," sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then...
Good publicity.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. This other thing that he did is he basically challenged the critics, the people that have given him shitty reviews, to boxing matches. Mm-hmm. And fought them.
Yeah.
And beat them up.
Yeah.
But apparently he was actually a legitimately good boxer.
Yeah.
However, rumors did swirl that, like, one critic who was a really good boxer, he declined to fight. So he was basically beating up these fat nerds.
Yeah. Yeah.
For publicity. But, you know, imagine how good that would feel to knock out your critics.
I mean, there's a couple of critics that I'd like to
get in the ring with. Yeah, you ain't wrong, mate. You ain't fucking wrong. So, you know, on the one hand, I was like, that's ridiculous. You know, you should just accept you make shit films. On the other hand, I'm like, to the critics that have criticized us, get in the ring with me, cunt.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea. I reckon it's awesome. I think it's quite commendable. It's like making the best of a bad situation. It's like, okay, well, so all these people are poo-pooing on you. What's the most awesome way to get some publicity out of it? Well, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Well, you could just make a good film.
Well, sure, but that's obviously beyond his capabilities.
Yeah. Well,
so he's going to... And also, presumably he deliberately makes films a bit shit.
No. Apparently he's like a real student of cinema and really doesn't understand why everyone says his films suck ass.
Right.
But they really suck ass, and I've seen a couple. So
but
I
are they
testify.
things like? Is it things like shitty backdrops and stuff?
It's shitty everything.
Are they technically shit?
They are technically, and they are made poorly in every facet. You know, some of them are sort of passable, but they are all, you know, middling to terrible. But anyway, he made this series of films called Rampage, right? And Rampage is about essentially a guy who just goes crazy one day and goes shooting up everyone. Like, you know, it's
cool.
Basically quite exploitative, really, of this really happening in real life. You know, but surprisingly got good reviews, the first one. So anyway, it's a story about a guy who just goes and shoots everyone up. That's the story. You know, after having a shitty day. So it's kind of like the poor man's version of Falling Down. Have you ever seen Falling Down, Michael Douglas?
Haven't seen that
Very
one.
good film. So anyway,
Don't like Michael Douglas that much.
oh, M. Dougie, come on, man.
I don't like his face.
M. Dougie.
He's got a face issue.
I really like Michael
I
Douglas.
just don't really enjoy his face or his films.
Oh, come on, Basic Instinct.
Not on board.
What was that other one he did? Who cares? Romancing the Stone.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
So anyway, they made a sequel to Rampage, which was apparently much less good. But he wanted to make a third in the Rampage trilogy. And so he tried to do it because he couldn't... Because this is the other thing, like, basically he finances all his films, you know, by kind of getting tax back from Germany, apparently. So if he shoots them a certain way and he gets 50% of the tax back, which is how he gets to make all these terrible films. Because everyone's like, how is he still making these films? And that's the way. But apparently his sort of loophole that he'd been exercising for his entire career has kind of closed up on him. So he's like, okay, I'm going to Kickstarter this. You know, I need the fans' support. And he basically, I'm just going to read a couple of the things, but basically, so he first started one to raise $100,000, and I think didn't get anywhere. I think he raised $6,375
Right.
of his $100,000. Then he adjusted it and changed. That was an Indiegogo. Then he changed it to Kickstarter with $50,000. And again, didn't really come close to raising the money. And then basically he was like, he shut them both down, obviously, before they went through because they weren't going to go through. And then he posted a YouTube video where he was basically like, fuck everyone, fuck the fans, fuck your mothers, fuck you all. I'm rich. I don't have to make films. Like, I don't have to make films. I can play golf for the rest of my life, but fuck you all.
Well, then why the fuck
for
does he
not
need an
supporting
Indiegogo?
us. For not
He's
supporting
rich.
us. Well, because you didn't, like, that's the first rule of filmmaking, man.
Don't invest your own money.
Yeah, that is the first rule of
Yeah.
filmmaking.
Well, we broke that rule.
We keep breaking that rule.
Yeah.
But, you know, that is a classic. So, anyway, and so now everyone's in a bit of an uproar because they're like, you're a shit filmmaker. That's why you're not getting money for these things. And you're trying to make the third part of an unwanted trilogy. That's the issue. But again, he doesn't understand this because he thinks that he's actually good. And, you know, he's been, you know, just, he's been hard done by. What is your take on that?
Well, I admire the man's drive and dedication. You know, the fact that he keeps on going.
He does.
You know, like he's basically doing our advice, which is just to keep on
Just
going.
keep going.
And you know, that
regardless of what the critics say, just keep going.
Well, exactly. And that is my advice for, you know, even when you do make something shit, is like, just remember you learned whatever you learned from it and move on and, you know, put those lessons to your next one. So, you know, you got to admire, you know, the fact that he just keeps on going. You know, I personally feel like I'd be really, really depressed if people had repeatedly shit on everything I'd ever made. You know, like that would be really easy to give up and go, oh, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Well,
Cranking a new beer, are you?
trying to crank one. Well, yeah, I guess I just think it's like, you can't just go insulting everyone, though.
Yeah.
And calling everyone retards.
Well, yeah, but
and tell them to fuck their
the
mothers.
man's had enough.
He's had enough, all right. He's about to go on a rampage.
He's made like heaps of films. And everyone keeps shitting on them.
Yeah.
And you know how much even a shit film is a big achievement. You know, like even when you make a shit project, a feature film or not, you know, it's still a big achievement. Nobody notices how much work goes into that shitty YouTube skit that you made. So, you know...
What are you talking about now?
just people in general, you know, just productions in general. I'm not talking about, and so...
No one's specific.
Like, nobody knows that it took a year to put the Super Saiyan shit out. Nobody knows that it took a year for that skit to come out and then it pooped out quietly onto the internet. Watch the Super Saiyan shit if you haven't seen it. We talked about it last week.
Yeah. Gold.
Yeah, so the point is that people don't necessarily know how much work actually goes into it. And every single film that you release or every production you release is actually a very big achievement. And so for him to have released a whole bunch of feature films, not using his own money and against the wishes of the world, that's
against the wishes.
actually very commendable. Look, it's a big achievement.
Believe in your dreams, I guess.
Yeah.
Even if no one else wants them.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think I take my hat off to the man. I'm just not sure he just sort of told everyone to go fuck themselves when they weren't interested in part 3 of a unwanted it's to be expected, right?
Sure, but why
don't they start a new one?
What about this though? We're talking about him now because of that, and soon we'll forget about that. Particularly if he gets his next film made and it's actually okay, or or whatever happens with it, as long as he keeps going, then maybe it's actually a good thing. It's that whole no such thing as bad publicity thing.
Well, he did.
We're talking about him.
Yeah, there was another interview where he said he told Michael Bay and Eli Roth and a bunch of other people, maybe even Quentin Tarantino, to all go fuck themselves,
right?
And that he was like a true filmmaker and they weren't.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay called him a sad, pathetic man. Eli Roth was like, "This is the biggest compliment ever coming from him."
Yeah.
And kind of took it in jest.
Yeah.
And then later on, he was like, "Look, I don't mind any of those people. I was just trying to drum up publicity for myself."
Yeah.
Uwe Boll, we take our hat offs to you, sir.
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. We won't be watching, but keep doing what you're doing.
Have any of his films made money?
Well, that's the thing. Basically, it's been he's been a victim of video piracy.
Right.
Essentially, his films were at a point profitable. So each film he made would make enough money for him to make the next film.
Yeah.
And now I think he's reached the tipping point where these films aren't making back their money.
Yeah.
And the tax back is not enough.
Yeah.
And so that's why he kind of resorted to doing what he did with this Rampage. So kind of the reality of filmmaking has caught up with the man. And we may not be seeing too much more. But we'll see.
Well, speaking of sad losers and making films, I went into the video store the other day and moved I Survived a Zombie Holocaust into a more prominent position, on the shelf so that people would be able to see it.
Well, I've got a question for you. When you were there, was it in or out?
Sadly, it was in.
Because I've been to the video store 3 times. And three times it's been out.
It's been out? Great. Yeah, well, on that day, it was in.
Yep.
But it was during the day sometimes, so it might have gone out that night. Particularly now that I moved it up the shelf a little bit to a more prominent position. Right. The issue is that at that video store, the letter I for I Survived a Zombie Holocaust is actually really low on the shelf, so it's down the bottom kind of thing. It's not at eye level, just the way the shelves are laid out. So if you're looking for I, it's kind of down the bottom anyway, which means our film is perpetually down the bottom. Even when I moved it to a more prominent position, but still keeping it within the eye zone, it was still on the second from the bottom shelf, which is not ideal. You want it eye level. That's the prime real estate in the video store, eye level.
Yeah, goddamn our title.
Yeah. I guess if we called it, say for example, Cinema Never Dies, it would start with a C, and then it would be A, closer to the front of the video store, and B, closer to the front of the new release section, and C, potentially it might even be higher on the shelf.
And D, not mentioning or bringing up connotations of a horrific atrocity committed to millions of people.
20 million people died in World War II.
60 years ago.
6 million of them in the Jewish Holocaust.
Look, hindsight's 2020, okay?
No, look, Holocaust doesn't mean that. It means death and destruction on a mass scale. So, for example, nuclear Holocaust. So there's
or
no
zombie killing.
Yeah. So it's just death or destruction on a mass scale. So all you Jews, calm down. It's not about that.
Exactly. But I feel you're on that title change now. Potentially.
Well, to be fair, we didn't really think of even...
We didn't really think.
It's not only did we, with regards to the title, we never sat down at any point and really thought of it. It was kind of the working title that stuck, and then it was never really considered to be really changed at any point.
To be fair, there was a back and forth of Apocalypse or Holocaust.
Yeah, and I was all for Holocaust, and I still am.
Yeah, me too, because Apocalypse has been done there's
Yeah.
a lot of zombie apocalypses about.
There's also that new reality show. It would have been a disaster because there's a new reality show, I Survived a Zombie Apocalypse, come out over in England on the BBC or something. And
So yeah, that really would have fucked us up.
yeah,
But what's fucked us up now is that
the Z word.
the Z word, 100%.
If you put zombie in it, people are like, no, another one.
People are now racist towards zombies.
Yeah.
Movie racist towards zombies.
They're
fucking unbelievable.
corpsists.
Yeah. So there's that element, and there's also, because, essentially, why is it called I Survived a Zombie Holocaust? Well, in part, it's called that because that is Wesley's title, right? So that is Wesley imagining what he would call a film, right? And Wesley is a bit of a cheesy writer.
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of like what he would write as the if it was his screenplay. And so I think that that was my rationale. Now, reflecting upon that, why the fuck would you call it what the character would call it? Yeah, it's all meta and all that shit, but it's also like, I think, the thing that we've struggled with is, we've had amazing response to the film, and it's awesome. The people that go out and see it, it's been fantastic. What we've been struggling with is like the greater media going, this is a real film. Yeah. Because primarily that title.
Well, we're guessing it's because
because
the title sounds too much like a schlocky B grade.
Exactly.
When zombie
it's not.
film. Yeah.
And the Z word.
The
those
Z
two
word.
things combined. The Z word combined with the H word.
Yeah. Yeah. So again,
and so that's
never stood a chance.
hurt us a little bit when and if we'd kind of sat back and thought about that. But I guess for me, I never thought, like, I always saw as like, right, there's a new New Zealand film coming out, a new good New Zealand film coming out. It's going to be covered by everywhere because that's what happens with new good New Zealand films. So there's no question of whatever title it is that's irrelevant to the point of support fucking Kiwi cinema, and also that's what happens to films, regardless of what they're called. There's been plenty of weird titles out there. The Strength of Water. Come on.
Well,
The Weight of Elephants?
I wouldn't watch either of those. Just by the sound of those names,
I can tell you what,
I would not choose to watch either of those.
They got more coverage than us in the media, I
Right.
can tell you that much. And so, it didn't really occur to us, but now it has occurred to us. But,
Speaking of the film,
yeah.
Are you, after 5 years, right? So the film's finally out. It's been 5 years in the making, and there's still the international release to go.
Yep.
But for our home territory and Australia, it is out. The film is out. Now, on the one hand, that's a big relief, but tell me this, do you have any sort of postnatal depression now that, the
Postnatal depression, that's good.
Yeah, the film is now out. It's your baby.
Yeah.
The film is your baby.
Definitely.
And you're crowning.
And to be fair, like, this is exactly like a baby situation, is you have a baby and you go, look, we did this. Look at this baby that we have. Isn't it cool? And everyone goes, fuck off.
We don't care.
Everyone can do that.
Yeah.
You're not good.
Yeah.
You just popped out this thing. It's nothing. It's meaningless.
Yeah.
And you go, no, but my baby's special.
Yeah.
It's got all these cool things. And it was my semen.
Yeah. And everyone just says, well, yeah, but everyone else has done this before you. A lot of people are going to do it after you.
So whip-de
shit. And also, you might think that your baby is special, or your movie, but
to us,
but actually, there are other people, babies and movies out there that are actually very, very, very special. Those exceptional,
like
exceptional
genius babies,
genius prodigies. And it's like you're standing there with this baby, and it's not necessarily a prodigy,
doughy, stupid baby, gurgling and slobbering on itself.
Now, that's not to say that with the international release of Zombie Holocaust, some it might still become a lot more sort of well known, as is often the case with New Zealand productions. They have to go overseas and make it before they can make it here,
before people give you any type of respect over here. So we're a little backwards, but all right, New Zealand, whatever you like.
The other thing too is that it's really hard to tell how it's doing because we don't know. Like we don't know how many people are buying the DVD or downloading the iTunes.
Get those facts and figures, unfortunately.
Yeah, and, well, also it's only 3 weeks or so. It's only been out for 3 weeks, so like those facts and figures won't be available for a long time.
That's true.
Either
some of them.
So like for all we know, it might be doing phenomenally well, and we just have no idea. But my concern is just that lack of media coverage. Just that lack of sort of really hearing anything else about it from anybody outside of people in some way affiliated with the production or with us,
Yeah. Oh, I think I've definitely got a case of the post-baby blues.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Just in terms of, I think, when you work so hard on something, you just want it to get a fair shake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much about, like, is it going to make millions of dollars or anything like that? No, it's more just that it gets the same respect that other films do within the criteria of New Zealand films.
I guess my my dream as well, my dreams slowly got more and more realistic as the process went on.
Or slowly got crushed, depending on which way you look at it.
Depending on how you want to phrase it. But, like initially, when it was announced that we got this funding, and when it was announced that I got the role, it was like, oh, okay, well, obviously this is going to be, this is going to launch me into the public sphere, Yep. This film is going to open all the doors for me. And, this film, it's not like I expected it to be the next Shaun of the Dead or something, sort of some international phenomenon, but I did expect it to, and my dreams at the time were that it was going to be a pretty massive success, obviously.
Yeah.
And then sort of as time passed, it slowly became more and more like, well, hopefully it'll just open some doors for me, when it's finally finished, as those 5 years progressed, and then slowly I actually, not long before it came out, I started having some fears, I was like, well, shit. And this had never really occurred to me before, this concept of, the film kind of coming out, but so what? Like, it hasn't in any way that, my fear was that it would come out and that my life would be no different before it came out or after it came out. It's just, it's out, but I still go to work, I still pay my rent. I'm not getting any more, I'm not necessarily going to be having more auditions.
Not getting any younger.
I'm not getting any younger, and that was kind of my fear, that it might just kind of come out and my life wouldn't really be changed in any way. Right. Now, it has only been out for 3 weeks, but my life has not changed in any way.
As of the 3 weeks, we are living your worst fears.
Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Your worst fears imaginable, we are currently in them.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, look, that's a valid concern. I guess also it is a little bit different over here. I think that whereas overseas, this idea of a breakout role is really true. Like, if you make a good thing and you're in it, even if it's not like wildly successful, that really does get you a lot more acting work. But over here, it seems like you can do actually like some very cool things and no one will give a flying fuck regardless.
Well, I'll tell you who gives me a little bit of hope, I guess, is Johnny Barker, right? He's a local...
JB.
He's a local actor. He played a serial killer he played the what did they call it?
The Ferndale Strangler.
The Ferndale Strangler on Shortland Street for ages. But he was in The Locals, right? Now, I don't know who made The Locals, and I don't want to offend anybody, but there was a lot of things wrong with that film in my eyes as a local sort of horror film. And not just that, but I remember watching it, and this was before I had even heard of him, right? I didn't know who he was. I was just watching this film, And I remember thinking, man, that's some terrible acting. And this was like quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then... But that seems to have really worked for him. It's led on to a whole bunch of different roles, and
has it worked for him though?
Well, that Shortland Street thing. I mean, I would be happy with a massive pivotal role on Shortland Street.
You are dreaming of Shortland Street. You're really holding that Shortland Street dream close.
That is the next... Shortland Street is the next logical stepping stone in my career. Like, you and I can keep making films, and we will, but as far as just the acting goes, it just makes sense that I need to get cast on Shortland Street in a regular role, because that is the trajectory that all New Zealand actors take.
As the Grey Lynn Strangler?
I could be the Grey Lynn Strangler.
Or the Grey Lynn pedo?
Yeah, whatever. I'll take it. I will say yes to any role. I have no issue.
Oh, that's good. I mean, to be honest, I feel like you're almost better off not to be in it. For your acting credibility. The aura of mystique will well and truly be defecated on if you have to act in Shortland Street just because of the way that you are doing it, which is kind of like almost live theatre.
Yeah.
And did you get your lines right? Yeah, but it was terrible. That's great. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, which is apparently, for those that don't know, apparently that's how it's often done on Shortland Street, is that because they've got so many episodes to get through and their shooting schedule is so tight that it's kind of like, show up, do your lines, hit your marks.
If you get both of those things right,
then they take it.
That's that.
Whereas, obviously as an actor, you would want to sit there and, perfect it and get the ultimate performance. But that's just no time for that. No time, no money. So that's why you get one shot at each take or something ridiculous.
Well, I wish you the best in your Shortland Street aspirations. We've yet to find out about the zombie film, but we do appreciate everyone that has gotten in touch with us and said how much they liked it, because that has only strengthened our resolve not to make a YouTube video like Uwe Boll and tell everyone to fuck themselves and their mothers and that they're a bunch of retards.
Yeah, well, I mean,
which we were on the verge of before we got those good comments.
Oh, we've been on the verge of that for years.
That's true.
No, but I guess it would be remiss to finish this topic without pointing out that we have had a lot of very positive feedback from people, and a lot of very nice interaction, a lot of people sharing, and there's a new so there's two actually tug screenings of the film, which is like cinema on demand. The film basically gets requested to play in a cinema, and then this website Tug sets it all up and they organise the logistics of it. And so we're now, because of Tug screenings, there's one in Christchurch and another one has just been announced here in Auckland at Reading.
No, at Event Cinemas.
St. Luke's. So that's from people that are dedicated to seeing this film on the big screen, genuine supporters and genuine followers, which is awesome.
The Christchurch screening sold out and has now been moved to a bigger venue to fit more people in. So still, as of speaking, have 93 tickets to sell of the Auckland event.
But to be fair, it was only announced yesterday or today.
Right. Only announced today in our time. Which was a couple of days ago.
In your time, if you're listening to this on Sunday.
But I would really like to. I mean, I hope the Auckland one does reach that threshold, because St. Luke's is where I go to see all my films. Yeah, that's a big ass cinema. Yeah, and it would just be cool to sit there and go, word to your mum. We are here in the cinema playing this, at this cool venue that, essentially that's what you dream of, right? Yeah. Sitting down in your cinema, but watching your film, not, Entourage, which I caught recently. I'll get into that a little bit later.
Well, so while we're at it, people, if you want to go, if you're in Auckland, you want to go along to the Tug screening now. I don't remember the date. Do you remember the date?
I can't remember the
date. Look, it's coming up soonish, and
it's probably 5 days from now.
No. The date of the screening won't be in 5 days.
On Sunday, it will be in 5 days, because it's 8 days now.
No, that's how long you get to sell the tickets, but then the screening will be 20 days from now or something. Stop confusing them, man. Look, so here's how it works, dear listener. You can pre-order tickets right now. What you'll have to do is you go to tug.co.nz and search Ice Above the Zombie Holocaust, or just keep an eye on the Facebook page of us, facebook.com/ISAZH, because we'll be posting it there and telling everybody to go along. So yeah, go check it out.
Yes, please do. Would love to see you there.
Are we going to go to that?
Well, I think I probably will try and go to that one.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a good idea, and then we can even try and push it a little harder with another Q&A or something like that, if people give a shit.
Yeah, well, look, man, we have some tales.
Yeah.
We have some skeletons in the closet. Mm-hmm. We will bring them out for you.
Yep.
Now, it's time for one of our favourite segments. Open up the old Tinder files.
The Tinder files. So do we need a intro
We
for
do
that?
need an intro for that. I haven't figured out quite what that will be, but we
1, 2, 3. The Tinder files.
It's exactly the same as the troll hole. We say the thing at the same time. That is our intro for everything. Pathetic.
It's original.
Okay, so this is Tinder files now. Tinder's a crazy place, man. Now I met a beautiful woman on Tinder.
Did you?
I did. I was like, and I couldn't believe we'd matched because she was so beautiful. So much so that I sent this to her.
Okay. I'm ready to hear. This is how you initiate on Tinder, people. Sit back, get out your pen, and listen.
Tinderbot, right? Question mark. That's from me. Mm-hmm. Her reply. What's up? Now, is that what's up? I'm a Tinderbot? Or is that what's up? I'm kind of ignoring that comment.
Well, I think it's what's up. I don't know what that means.
I don't know English.
No. I don't know what a Tinderbot is. Like she'll be like, I don't get the joke.
Well, anyway, so she said, this is then what she followed that up with after what's up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, guy. I want to have sex with strangers who are also skilled and very intimate in bed? Question mark. If you are of the same interest like mine, well, spare time meeting me at a link to a website link.
A dating site or something?
Yeah. And try if we are really compatible to have intimate and unforgettable experience in bed.
So when you're meeting her?
So I'm meeting her next week.
So that's your first date? Good.
So that's and that's one of the many the joys of Tinder, man. I wonder if I don't think there can be Tinder bots for girls because girls are too smart.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, guys should be too smart as well.
But I want to know because this Tinder bot included like a clickable link within Tinder.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is have a clickable link to the zombie trailer on my Tinder profile.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't let me do it.
But was it sent as a message?
It was sent as a message.
So you can probably just send messages with links, I'd say.
So, yeah, that's me on Tinder, matching with Tinder bots, flirting with Tinder bots. It's all happening. The joys.
Jesus.
So, that's the Tinder files for this week.
Oh, good. What? The Tinder files.
Tinder files.
Okay, well, now it's time for our other favourite segment.
The
troll hole. Now, this is actually a retro troll hole.
Yep.
Which is, I was just looking. So last week we said that you guys should go and check out the Super Saiyan shit and Disgusting Hairy Man. That was what we recommended of the Pigville YouTube videos. You should go check out.
It's not bad.
Yeah. We're drinking some rum, Sailor Jerry rum.
Sailor Jerry's rum.
No rocks, no mixer.
And a couple of Coronas before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, that's for Liam Hegarty if you're wondering what we're drinking today.
Tonight.
So basically last week we told you to go check out Disgusting Hairy Man and the Super Saiyan shit. And so I posted Disgusting Hairy Man. I posted them both as comments underneath last week's podcast. And as I was watching Disgusting Hairy Man again and just reminiscing
of the good times,
I read an old comment. And he said, this guy says that, looks like he took acting classes from the dad and Malcolm in the Middle, which at the time was a big insult.
But now,
because he was, Hal. His name was Hal, and he was doing this like crazy overacting,
lots of
big,
funny facials and like kind of go like he did specialize in like doing kind of weird whimpers, like he's like.
Yeah,
that was Bryan Cranston's bag at the time of Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
which if you've seen Disgusting Hairy Man, there's a lot of.
And so at the time it was a big insult.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's turned into a compliment.
Well, that's the
now
thing.
it's saying that I act like Brian
Cranston of Breaking Bad. So through the fullness of time, this trolling comment has turned positive.
Exactly.
Through the fullness of time and solid performances.
Now, I've actually got something to say about Malcolm in the Middle
Yeah.
and about his performance, about his character.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered the fact that Hal from Malcolm in the Middle is actually kind of like a real life version of Homer from The Simpsons? He's got this dumb
Yeah.
dad, and he does lots of and all that type of stuff that Homer does.
Yeah.
But he's the live action version of Homer Simpson.
He is. I see that. I do see that. He's not as stupid as Homer. He's also in good shape.
He's in all right shape.
They had abs, man.
Did he?
Yeah.
Not always. Some of those episodes, because I remember his
you
body.
were like a Malcolm in the Middle specialist.
No, well, the reason why
Malcolm in the Middle connoisseur.
The reason-
you know so much about it.
Okay, you got to remember the reason why I remember Hal's body from Malcolm in the Middle.
Right.
Specifically, the reason why I remember it, right, is because in the early seasons there was this ongoing joke that he was very hairy. And that he would be cooking topless, and the hairs would all end up in the food, and people they'd be picking the hairs out, and that was just normal.
Okay.
And then there was other jokes where like his wife would be like shaving him, and he just had this ridiculous body hair. Now, as a hairy man, this stuck out to me as it's like, oh, I'm not alone. But the thing was that you could see that the body hair was prosthetic. It was genuinely fake body hair. And then later in the seasons, they just discontinued.
Did away with
Yeah,
that
they just
concept.
discontinued the joke because there was scenes where he was like, I remember there was one where he was in a jacuzzi and it was just he just wasn't hairy, just for no reason.
Which made you furious.
Which made me furious because that is body shaming against hairy people.
And then disrespecting the continuity of it.
Exactly. And actually, speaking of
It's
body,
not canon. Malcolm in the Middle hairiness is not canon anymore.
I don't know what canon means.
It means like it goes, like the true sequence of events,
Right.
So like if it fits into a timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And it's not.
well-
His hairiness is no longer.
Speaking of body shaming hairy people,
Yeah.
I, as I said, was watching American Sniper, and I noticed there was a scene where he's topless and he's in bed with his wife, and he's kind of this, he's this big macho Texan redneck,
Yeah.
And so he just doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would manscape. And yet, he clearly had been manscaping. Like, his shoulders were not hairy at all, but he had a hairy chest, but the hairs were quite short. And, I recognize the
Well-groomed.
signs. I recognize the signs of a manscaper, because obviously I do it. I've got a keen eye for it. I don't do it anymore, really, to be honest. I just kind of let that shit ride.
Unfortunately for us all, you have really negated that recently.
Well, manscaping's a single man's game.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Nah, also when it's summer, I do manscape probably once or twice a summer. But so anyway, I flew.
Once or twice a summer. Once or twice in 6 months, you will do that.
I did. I flew into a rage as I watched it, and I complained bitterly to
your
Angie
girlfriend.
that
Hairy guys don't get a fair shake in the industry.
No, well, here's this character who's meant to be like a big redneck killer, but he's still supposed to be attractive. He's supposed to be attractive as well. And so instead of just saying, hey, maybe he could be a guy with a handsome face and a nice smile and hairy shoulders, maybe his body could be natural. But no, they didn't say that. They said, oh, we got to trim this guy down, and we've got to,
Because hairiness is disgusting.
Because hairiness is fucking hideous, and anybody who's hairy is disgusting. That's the message that they put forward to the world. And now this is what I have to bear on my hairy shoulders. I carry that weight on my hairy shoulders. The weight of the world thinking I'm horrendous.
Yeah. No, look, I will agree that Hollywood has done a huge disservice to hairy men in general.
They have.
Over the last 20 years.
Yeah, this is like fat chicks for men.
Yeah. So, girls, you think you got it bad with everyone complaining about weights and all this stuff. We got to deal with hairiness.
Yeah.
So,
and baldness.
It's not all both. It doesn't all go both ways.
That reminds me. Speaking of baldness, I want to give a big shout out to Game of Thrones, because they have a number of
repping baldies,
of attractive baldies.
Yeah.
So you've got
your hero must be Daenerys's. What's his name? What's his name?
His name is Jorah Mormont.
Yeah.
So. His name is Jorah Mormont, and
What's his fucking last name?
and he is the bodyguard of Daenerys, and there's no spoilers here or anything like that. But he is a guy who has a receding hairline, but you can still see that he's a strikingly handsome man. And now, admittedly, he's deep in the friend zone.
Yeah, he fully got friend zoned to the maximum to be banished from the land.
Whoa, just in case people won't see anything, but this guy he plays the bodyguard of Daenerys Targaryen, and admittedly he is literally in his 60s, and they do make reference to it. But the point is, he's a very handsome 60-year-old, and he's got a receding hairline, and it's not a big deal. Another one is Stannis Baratheon.
Yep.
Who is
rocking the receder.
He's rocking the receder, but he's still, I would say, a handsome man, and he's a very powerful character.
Could become king.
Exactly. And then but then there's also I always forget his name. I like to think I look like Stannis or or Jorah, but in reality I look more like Stannis's right-hand man.
Oh, who is that guy? I don't know his name.
I've forgotten the name too.
Too many names, Game of Thrones.
Too many names.
Yeah.
So anyway, big shout out to Game of Thrones for having handsome balding men. Thank you.
Well,
thank you. Thank you.
That's all we can hope for, is that bald men are represented more thoroughly in film.
Yeah. Jason Statham has advanced our movement in leaps and strides.
Exponentially. The Rock and Jason Statham are doing it for the cause.
The bald man equality movement has been rocketed forward thanks to these heroes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I think we should probably... I mean, I will just quickly mention, you're talking about trends in Hollywood, hating on hairy people and bald people. Mm-hmm. I will say that something I've noticed that really irritates me, right, really grinds my gears, is the leather jacket hoodie combo.
Yeah? Not feeling it.
No, it's fine, right? But it's been going on in Hollywood for 10 years, maybe even longer. When the first time I sort of really remembered it was Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds, which I think was somewhere around 2004. Okay. Now, since then, every kind of guy, like every kind of dude, macho dude of any age, this is what upsets me, any age, has a leather jacket / hoodie combo. Wolverine, Arnie in the new fucking Terminator, Tom Cruise in that, but in also like the Mission Impossibles and stuff like that. And to me, it's just like, seriously, is one person dressing all of Hollywood guys? And also, no, when you're 55, me and you can't wear a leather jacket hoodie combo.
Well, I might.
But we can't just do it and people go, he's cool.
Well, what are we allowed to wear? 55-year-olds aren't allowed to wear leather jackets?
That's a good question. No, you can wear a leather jacket.
You can't wear it with a hoodie.
You can't wear it with a hoodie with the hood out the back.
Well, but the thing about that, though, is that it's convenient. It keeps you warm. It keeps you dry.
Well, look, we're going to be entering into an interesting era when we get older, right? Because we actually, like, hoodies were our thing. So is hoodies going to be okay for us when we're 55? Because they had this hysterical joke in Jack and Jill, I don't know, that Adam Sandler classic.
Yeah.
Where they basically had Al Pacino come in and he was just kind of wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, and it looked insane. It looked like, it was just a visual gag that Al Pacino was wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
And it was insane because, you think about...
Because Al Pacino would never wear a hoodie.
Yeah, suits, Scarface, gangsters,
respectable older gentlemen.
Exactly. You would never... And it was like, I'm sure they did it to be funny, and it was, and it was weird to see a guy of that age in a hoodie. But I'm just saying, like, Hollywood, man, come on, chill the fuck out with the leather jacket hoodie combo. 10 years is not a fashion thing anymore. You know?
It's just lazy styling.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. So, I mean, when was the last time you wore a leather jacket and a hoodie combo?
Well, I've got a jacket that is kind of a leather jacket hoodie.
But that's a little bit different, you see.
It's not a combo,
Yeah.
but it is a hoodie, leather jacket hoodie. And then also...
It has a hood on it.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the hoodie combo.
But it's kind of the same look. And then, I mean, I don't have a true leather jacket, but I do have a denim jacket with kind of faux leather arms, which I often wear a hoodie underneath.
Right.
Which is kind of a similar vein.
Well, that's just... I've just been really upset by it when I noticed Arnie wearing one in the new T5.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Terminator shouldn't wear a hood.
No.
Terminator doesn't need a hoodie.
Hoodies.
His head doesn't get cold.
I've been expecting you, is what he said when he was wearing it.
Right.
So
That was an excellent Arnie.
get down! Get down!
Is that yours? Then stop eating it.
Julian! Yeah, so look, we can all agree that our Arnies are amazing.
The masters of impersonation. I just can't see why I haven't got an audition yet. I just can't see why I haven't got an audition for Shortland
weird
Street.
how your career hasn't taken off. So we do have a listener question.
Oh, okay, do we?
We've got to throw this to the listener questionership.
Okay.
So this comes from Charlie, our friend.
Yep.
Charlie.
Scott?
Charlie
Scott.
From the Kingsland area. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where we had a drink with her one time.
Well, I know her from Wellington.
Yeah. Well, we both know her from Wellington.
Right.
So anyway, here's what she said. Sup, dudes. Smile emoticon. Mm-hmm. I have a listener question for you. I've been encouraging a friend to start a podcast, but she's flipped it on me and she wants me to join her as we have lots of similar beliefs. The thought of getting away from the keyboard and actually talking out loud scares me. I'm a closet shy person. I'm considering it though. Do you guys have any advice for two potential aspiring podcasters? Trials and tribulations, pros and cons and whatnot. How did you get to 50 listeners? Thanks. What's your advice for the young lady?
Well, she should definitely do it. She currently does a blog, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And everybody should look that up, but I forget the name of it.
Well, the beauty of the podcast is you don't have to write shit anymore.
Yep.
So you save a lot of time.
Yep.
So right there, you're going to be saving a lot of time just talking, spouting off at the mouth, as opposed to having to put all these thoughts into words, you know? So you're immediately cutting out the middleman there of reading.
Although I personally would sooner read an article than listen to a podcast. I read a lot more stuff online than I listen to or watch.
I would.
Reading has gone up since the internet came along.
I think now with podcasting, reading's on the way back down.
I don't think so.
Definitely.
I don't think so.
They even have audiobooks now, man. So you
Yeah.
don't even have to read. You just listen to your books
Yeah,
now.
but think about how many articles and blogs people read online. Like, you know, things that pop up on your Facebook. People reading has gone through the roof since the internet came along.
I feel like it could be back on the decline again.
Right.
With the podcast evolution.
All right. Well, advice would be
Well,
that A, she should definitely do
yes,
it.
I agree.
Because why the fuck not?
Yep.
B, you might actually find that it's very good for your friendship with this person because
Well, has it been good for our friendship?
Well, I think it has because we get, you know, like before the podcast and when we weren't doing the radio show, we would not necessarily sit down and have a conversation every week about anything.
No.
You know, like, you know, I'd see a guy in the hallway and say what up. You know, and, you know, we'd have a conversation about something related to filmmaking or something practical that needs to be done. Oh, we need to promote this or we need to shoot this or whatever.
Yep.
But we wouldn't necessarily sit down and talk about balding men in Hollywood, you know, or anything
sympathetically
of anything important, of any importance. You know, so
sympathetic.
I feel like it's good. It's good for our personal relationship.
And I will just interject there to say that is the reason that Kevin Smith started podcasting with his producer. Scott Mosier. So the reason that he started that is because he's like, man, we never just sit down and hang out and talk anymore because we just don't have the time. This gives us a reason to have the time to shoot the shit and actually people enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yes, very good point.
Yeah. And I really look forward to doing the podcast each week.
Yeah.
because I enjoy it. It's an enjoyable, pleasant experience.
It's a thrill.
So yes, you should definitely do it.
Tips. Well, 1, be consistent. Mm-hmm. Now, we have only missed 1 week in 21 weeks.
And on that week, we did make up for it. We just posted it a couple of days later.
That's true.
So it was, we didn't actually skip a week. We just were a couple of days late.
But the key to hitting that beautiful 50 listenership mark is consistency. Because, you know, people, they get their podcast every week. They want to listen. It becomes a routine, becomes a habit. The Guy and Harley podcast, I'm going to download that shit. I'm going to listen to it at the gym, whatever. So, you know, be consistent. Like, treat it like it's, you know, it's a thing you have to do every week. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, you've got to find the time to do that. And to be honest, sometimes it's very difficult for me. I'm like, man, I just want to have a rest. But I can't, because the podcast has to be done. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, thy podcast cometh out. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I think be consistent is one. And also, and this may be as a surprise to some of our listeners, but plan your shit, man. You know, like, we do go off on tangents, but we have a very, like, I spend, you know, half an hour to an hour writing out topics, as does Harley, and then I also thinking of topics and jotting down ideas through the week before we do the podcast. So I think it's very important to have like a whole bunch of topics you want to hit.
Yeah.
If you don't have time for them all, sweet as.
Save them for next week.
But have them all there to talk about, because that is going to lead to interesting discussions. Whereas if you kind of just think, oh, we're just two friends and we're just going to be really entertaining and engaging together, you'll swiftly find
that you've got nothing to say. Yeah. You'll quickly find that you're boring.
Yeah, and full of shit.
Full of shit. Talking crap.
So I think that would be my ones: consistency, and always come into them with a good plan.
Yep. Well, that's all sound advice.
Now, just a couple last things here. Entourage movie. We talked about it the other week.
Yep.
I went to watch it. It was good.
Good to hear.
It was not bad at all. If you like the Entourage TV show, yes, it was like kind of a longer episode of the TV show, but it was totally fine. They were smart in that they really kind of centered the true, like, sort of drama, shall we say, around Johnny Drama, which is the loser brother, who's always been the most interesting character, and you always cared the most about him, because, you know, basically we can all identify with being in someone else's shadow. We can all identify with kind of like having these dreams of and wanting to achieve these things and not quite getting there a lot of the time. And so, you know, I think that was the heart of the movie, was his journey. And I think that was, you know, really good. And also Kevin Dillon, who plays Johnny Drama, is exceptional. Like, you know, he's just great. He's just very fun. And he's also just fully prepared to make fun of himself. We did discuss whether now he was too old to be making dirty jokes. Like, right off the bat, one of the very first things he says, he's like, they're driving out to this boat, in a boat, and this boat is full of hot chicks on this amazing yacht, and he's like, oh, bro, I don't know if I should have jerked it on the way before I could catch up with all these girls, sort of thing. And I was like, ooh, that is a little bit but then after that, it was totally fine. So it was just only one kind of comment that made you just go,
Right.
But yeah, he is amazing, and so I thought that was actually pretty good. Second thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about, just saw Jurassic World.
Yeah, you went, is it out?
Just came out today.
Right.
So, very moderate spoilers, but not really spoilers.
Oh, spoilers. Say goodbye now.
This is my sort of a couple of line review.
Moderate spoilers, right?
Jurassic World suffers from CG-itis.
Right, predictable.
And blockbuster-itis.
Yeah.
Now, CG-itis being computer-generated imagery, just too much stuff that looked too fake. Too much stuff where it's just like, what? Like, you know, if you have someone traveling on along in a train car by bushes, right? Why do you need to make that CG?
Because they don't want to pay for a train, and they don't want to pay for...
That's the thing, is like...
on location, all
like,
those actors and crew.
Find a location that has those things.
Yeah, but you've got to pay, like, there's a big difference between an actor standing on a stage in Hollywood at the Warner Bros. Studios, in front of a green screen on top of a fake train, versus taking him out, having all the health and safety, having all the, the crew, the light, all that stuff, all that. You're talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars in one scene.
It's just a matter of believability, though. And if you're going to make a $200 million film, you can do these things. These are doable. And also, I think there's this big thing where it's like, oh, it's going to cost more to shoot it practically, right? But actually, the cost of visual effects cost a shitload, so it's not necessarily, it's going to maybe cost $100,000 visual effects shot.
Yeah.
Because they've got to, replicate all this stuff that is very difficult to do and doesn't look real. So, what took me out of the film, like, I thought it was, a reasonable film, but it was just like, man, there's so much of the stuff that I just know these actors do not exist within the context of their backgrounds, the worlds that they're in.
And that kills it for me. I hate that.
And that's the thing, but it's also, I think it's never been clearer in a movie that we are not at this phase of CG that all these Hollywood films wants us to be, which is,
where
we'll just
seamless.
we'll make these worlds and you'll believe them. No, we won't believe them, and they look shit. So that was my first beef with it. Second beef was it blockbuster-itis. And this is where there has to be over-complications on complications because you think that that's what we need. So, for example, in the first Jurassic Park, there was a T-Rex, and everyone was like, holy fuck, it's a T-Rex.
And now it's some sort of genetically modified and enhanced T-Rex.
Now it's a mutant T-Rex fighting a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And that's just, you didn't need that. You didn't need to go there. You didn't need to take it that far.
What makes it interesting is humans interacting with dinosaurs. You could almost tell the same story again, but with different people.
Exactly.
And it would work.
And it's just this need to sort of, and then, some velociraptors come in, and, before you know it, you've just gone into these crazy shenanigans and that are just over the top. And they destroy the believability of a sort of an already unreal situation. So, that was my sort of beef with it. But, yeah, those were the two things that I wanted to talk about. I only have one other thing to say.
Okay.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm gargling piss is what I'm doing.
Oh, right.
I'm standing up now because we've had 2 beers and a whiskey. And a whiskey. It's a rum, actually. Sally Jerry rum. And I've got a very small bladder as it is.
Well, look.
I drank a coffee before as well.
I just wanted to mention this.
Otherwise, I could talk for another 45 minutes.
Ash vs. Evil Dead update.
Yep.
Internship. Some people may recall that I applied for that.
I do.
Little update to that. Did not get it.
No.
Was rejected. Once again. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll say a couple of things about
this. The world
is
conspiring against us.
Now, there was a couple of directors. They were kind of TV commercial directors, which got the 2 internships. There's 3 internships. The final internship went to Renee Nafahu, who is a director, and he just did a feature film, which was like a sort of a crime drama, right?
Was that The Last Saint?
The Last Saint, yep. And it was very good.
Yeah,
I really love that film. So let that go on the record, right? However, it was so far removed from Evil Dead sensibilities that you couldn't find 2 more differing types of projects. Whereas me, Guy motherfucking Pigden, made the Evil Deadest fucking film in fucking years, since Brain Dead, right? That's what I did, right? So who would you give this to? Would you give it to the guy that is amazing at doing crime dramas with, involving drug addiction and pee? Or would you give it to the guy that has the same irreverent sensibilities as Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, who made a film with very similar humor to Evil Dead? Oh, we'll just give it to the crime guy.
Well, I guess...
all I have to say to that...
I guess they just liked The Last Saint more.
Well, I guess they did. But all I have to say to that is fuck the fucking selectors and fuck the haters. fuck that shit. That is fucking bullshit.
To the selectors, if you happen to be listening to
Did you even watch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust?
He's just
what
very...
is the fucking matter with you?
He's just very angry.
That you would pick a crime drama guy over an Evil Dead guy for an Evil Dead internship.
Please.
And I really like Renee Nafahu too. I've spoken to him and he's a super cool dude and I really like that film. I'm talking about the selectorship here.
Please choose him next year. He's just very angry.
Why
he's
he's
just
make any
upset.
sense. It defies logic.
Well, you know...
It actually defies logic.
Maybe you're just not ready. Maybe next year's the year for you.
Fuck, I'm more ready than I've ever been. One final note on that.
Oh, God.
Okay, so got rejected for that. However, we did have someone from Evil Dead come and watch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
That's true. She was there.
Jill Marie Jones.
She was there, and I wanted to talk to her too.
Beautiful, stunning woman.
Yep, and I went up to say hello while you were talking to her, and then you guys just kept talking, and I just stood there awkwardly for a minute or two, and then wandered off.
But anyway, she is one of the main stars of the new Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series. She came along to the zombie film, and she loved the film. Stuck around for the Q&A, told me how much she dug the film.
She even had a queue.
She did have a queue. She had a couple queues. She said that she was frustrated that I couldn't answer more of her queues. And so she was, super into it, loved the film, had a lovely chat with her. So that just goes to show you's all got it wrong. Because the lead actress of Evil Dead was fully loving I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. You know why? Because it's the same kind of thing.
All right.
And that's why.
So go and see it, please, everybody.
Please do.
It's going to be playing in St. Luke soon. Otherwise, you can find it on iTunes or on at the DVD store or at the warehouse or JB Hi-Fi. I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. Look it up.
So, yeah, if you're a fan of the original Evil Dead trilogy, this will be right up your alley.
Exactly.
That's us.
That's us. So please hit share. If you enjoyed the show today, hit share. And if you've got any questions for next week, let us know.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.